Welcome to the Finance Marketing Podcast, a show that empowers finance professionals to market their businesses in ways that feel good and actually achieve results. I'm your host, Hillary. I've been working with folks in financial services to develop marketing strategies that work and create results-oriented marketing content since 2020. And I've learned a lot about what works in finance marketing, what doesn't work, and where financial services pros get stuck. Join us each Friday as we explore real, effective ways to market your finance business and connect with folks who truly embody your ideal clients. Today, I'm excited to welcome Jack Rubin, Senior Vice President of Consumer Financial Solutions at DailyPay, which is an early wage access product offered by many U.S. employers as a benefit to their employees. Now, I do want to say we had some recording issues during this conversation. So if you notice any audio discrepancies or imperfections in this episode, I am so sorry. And just know we did our best to work with what we had, and I hope it's not too distracting. Now, I got connected with Jack through an article that I wrote for MarketWatch earlier this year titled How to Get Your Paycheck Early. In the article, I mentioned DailyPay as an example of an early wage access company and platform, and shortly after, DailyPay reached out to see if I'd like to dive deeper into their approach to financial wellness on the podcast. So while this interview might seem a little bit outside the usual conversations that we have on the Finance Marketing Podcast, the insights that Jack shares about financial wellness, I think are still really valuable, especially for financial advisors and coaches who are interested in taking a broader approach to financial literacy and education for individuals who may be living paycheck to paycheck. So in this conversation, Jack is sharing the benefits of earned wage access and how it can provide more financial stability for employees who might otherwise have to rely on payday loans or be subject to high overdraft fees from their banking institutions. Now, don't worry, I did ask Jack the tough question during our interview about whether he thought DailyPay might unintentionally perpetuate a vicious cycle of spending as you earn, rather than addressing underlying issues such as overspending or other things, making it really difficult or even impossible for people to build up their savings and become more financially secure. I was really impressed with Jack's answer, and I did appreciate his discussion of how DailyPay's mission is not just to offer a quick financial fix, but instead is to propel users forward on their journey to greater financial stability on the long term. And so we dove into exactly how DailyPay is starting to do that. Now, as employee needs are changing and evolving, I thought this was still a very interesting conversation for financial advisors and coaches in particular to hear on how financial wellness benefits offered by employers can and should be a part of conversations with financial professionals. So without further ado, let's dive in. Jack, thank you so much for joining me today on this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. I'm so excited to have you here. How are you today?
Doing great, Hillary. Thanks. It's great to be here and looking forward to this conversation.
I am as well. I would love to start if you could just tell our listeners a little bit about who you are and also tell us about DailyPay and all about, your mission and vision and everything we need to know.
Oh, well, great. Well, thanks for the opportunity. I'm really passionate about what we do and love the chance to talk about it anywhere and everywhere with everyone. So as for me, I have had the privilege of spending my career in various consumer products and services, everything from packaged goods and manufacturing to retail to technology and financial services as well. And I've had the great privilege of better part of the last decade or so working in consumer financial services, or as I like to call them, consumer financial solutions. I came to DailyPay in 2023, the tail end of 2023, to lead and to build a consumer financial solutions suite of products and offerings and a business that will help us better serve the end users of our platform and our clients, the employers of our end users, and help us bring earned wage access as an employee benefit to millions and millions more people. So that's why I joined DailyPay. It's a really exciting time in our company. What is DailyPay? DailyPay is a work tech company that features an employer-sponsored benefit of earned wage access that companies offer to their employee as part of their financial wellness benefits offerings. Those clients, they're a lot of big names you've heard of, and a lot of and run across the industry. But think about clients like Target and Hilton that are looking to offer financial wellness resources rather to their employees, and are wanting to help solve a fundamental problem that almost everybody experiences at some point, which is how do you make ends meet? Regardless of how much folks are making, there is a distance from one paycheck to the next, right? And your utility bill doesn't care that your paycheck's coming on Friday if it's due on Wednesday, right? Your car doesn't care your paycheck's coming on Friday if it decides to need a repair urgently on Thursday, right? That pipe in your house that might have burst overnight, again, doesn't care when your paycheck's coming. It needs to be addressed today. And so earned wage access, which is an employee benefit that DailyPay has pioneered and is the leader in the industry, helps employees access their wages as they earn them on demand, so that they can make their ends meet and avoid many more costly alternatives. Right? Think about it, and if you have got to pay for something today, the alternatives are sometimes can be very, very expensive. Right? Things like payday loans or having to borrow from family and friends and what have you, whereas being able to access the wages that you've already earned, we learned from our own users, those who might have previously paid late fees prior to having access to this benefit, 7 out of 10 of them no longer pay fewer or no longer pay any late fees at all for bills that they may incur. So it's a really important benefit, but we view it as a starting point on a financial journey. We want to propel the users of our platform on that financial wellness journey from starting with just making ends meet between one paycheck and the next, to then helping to build more of a cushion, more stability, perhaps savings not only for emergencies, but also to start to build their credit that not only helps them access the financial system, but as we know, a credit score is really important, not just for access to financial products, just to sign a lease on an apartment, right? To move out of your parents' house or what have you and into your own place, maybe to go from having 4 roommates to 2 or just to live on your own. You got to have a credit file. So, those are the kinds of problems and the kind of financial journey and wellness journey that we're looking to impact for the employees of our clients, and to help our clients, those employers I mentioned, to both attract and retain talent through differentiated benefits that they offer. So that's a little bit about me. That's a little about DailyPay and what we're currently focused on.
This is so great. And I have a couple follow-up questions that I would love to ask you about. The first thing I want to say is, I think in this day and age, a service like DailyPay is so useful for people who are dealing with inflation, as we all are, right? Things are getting more and more expensive. There's that old statistic that has kind of been thrown around for a couple of years now. The majority of Americans couldn't cover a $400 emergency expense if it came up, right? So really appreciate what DailyPay is doing as a solution for everyday people. Could you give us a little overview of exactly how DailyPay works? You mentioned, it gives people a way to access their earned wages as they earn them. So does that look like they get their paycheck a few days early? Does that look like they can draw on their paycheck at any point during the pay period? What does that look like exactly?
Yeah, it's a great question. Earned wage access in general is the ability to access some percentage of the wages that you've earned to date prior to your paycheck coming. There are different models out there, but what I love about the DailyPay model is that we're able to grant you up to 100% of the net earnings that you've had to date, because of the unique way that we integrate both with the client systems and payroll providers, so that for what's effectively like an ATM fee, right? It's a small dollar amount, not a percentage. You're able to access your earned wages. There's also the ability, if you're able to wait, a day or two to take that earned wage access, or the amount of money that you're able to transfer or want to transfer through ACH, that can be free of charge. Or if you are able to take that earned wage access onto our DailyPay Visa card, we're also able to offer that free of charge as well. And so mechanically what it looks like for the end user, you've got an app on your phone, you look in the app, you see how much of your net earnings are available to date before your next paycheck in order to to access. You decide how much you want to access, and then decide simply from one of those options I mentioned in order to move that money to an account of your choice, where you're able to then use it to pay a bill or pay for an upcoming expense, and importantly, avoid any late payment penalties, fees, interest, what have you.
That's great. Now, you also mentioned, Daily Pay really cares about whole financial wellness, right? And starting people on the journey towards good financial habits and building up those emergency funds and things like that. And my listeners care about that very much as well. One question that I think they might have is having this kind of immediate access to your wages. Are there any sort of downsides to that? And I'm curious to hear how you would answer that in case people, take their wages. And maybe don't have good spending habits as a foundation to rely on. And then when bills do come up, they've already spent their wages. How do you help kind of navigate that sticky area?
Hillary, it's a great question, and it's actually, believe it or not, the benefits of earned wage access are actually what attracted me to Daily Pay, because of how it helps propel people forward on their financial journeys rather than sending them backwards. And before I talk about that, let me tell you about my personal connection and conviction there, and then talk about how that's the case. I grew up in Northwest Louisiana. I grew up in Shreveport, and my dad was a professor at the local campus of Louisiana State University there. He's still with us. He's just retired. And he taught risk and insurance, but his real passion was he'd teach financial literacy classes to the community, right? High school teachers, students, sometimes just, various folks throughout the community would come and take these classes and start with the basic stuff that none of us learn in school. None of us. It doesn't matter what kind of financial background you come from. None of us learn the basics of financial literacy in school. How to pay yourself first, how to start to build savings, how and why to pay off high interest debt if you've got it, and what have you. And one of the things I learned over the years, interacting with people at all different life stages and all different means, and watching them interact with my dad in this capacity, is that most people think that saving for the future and getting financially ahead is something that is unattainable for them. It's too far off in the future. Or when they think of the word saving, they think, oh, I need to no longer be living paycheck to paycheck before I can start saving. Oh, I need to have thousands of dollars to start saving. And one thing that I watched again and again and again, and now I carry with me professionally, is watching people discover that for as little as $5, $10, $20, and a pay period in a month, you can start saving. You can start building yourself a cushion. You can start finding a way to make your money last from one paycheck to the next and start getting out of the cycle of more and more debt that you accrue. And that confidence propels people forward. It helps them make the decisions that we all, if we sat down and thought about it, could figure out we know we need to make to move forward financially. But we need the confidence, we need the momentum, and we need the positive reinforcement to move forward. And so, the question, and I think it's a great question, right? And it's a natural question to have, is if folks are able to draw early on their paychecks on their schedule, what kind of financial wellness habits and forward momentum does that create? And we are seeing it with, I see it every day. I read the comments and the feedback every day that come in through our various, channels, be they reviews or our client success and customer success channels, the life-changing impact we're making on people. Frequently, I read one the other day from somebody who, I don't have it in front of me to quote it, but was saying how helpful it was to have Daily Pay because they'd previously, prior to getting this new job, had not only been unemployed but unhoused, and the ability to access their paycheck prior to when payroll was processing it actually got them to help them get up on their feet and moving forward. If you think about that from our client's perspective, from the employer's perspective, they don't want their employees being financially stressed. One statistic I read said that 73% of financially stressed employees said they'd be more attracted to an employer that cares about their financial well-being and shows it and offers products like this. And I think this is why. It's because you might be working every day and you might be earning every day, but if you have to wait for that paycheck to come, you become financially stressed. You may have to call out from work. You may not be able to afford childcare, gas for your car. You may wind up losing that job that's now helping you move forward. Now, and one of the things that we are measuring ourselves on and planning into our user experience is understanding the usage behaviors and patterns folks have with our core products, with our suite of products that we're developing and offering. And we want to see them progressing forward financially, right? We want to see them building up savings over time. We want to see them paying bills on time and not incurring late fees. We want to see them building their credit scores. Those are the problems that we're addressing and tackling with the platform. And that's our focus.
That's really neat. Thank you so much for sharing that. I would love to ask you, because I think that the service that you're offering is great. I think it sounds, everything DailyPay does is coming from a place of wanting to help people be better with their finances. So for my listeners who are, mostly financial advisors, mostly financial coaches, who may be able to help their clients find out, do you have access to DailyPay? Is that something that, we could advocate to your employer on your behalf or something like that? Can you tell me a little bit more about some of these other ways that you're helping people or that DailyPay is looking to see are people making progress? Do you send emails, or do you have resources on your website or anything like that the end users of DailyPay can access as well?
Yeah, no, great question, Hillary. Thanks for that. I'd say first and foremost, if you're looking to learn more about DailyPay and our offerings, and to see some of the clients that we serve, you can find it right on dailypay.com. There's a lot of great information there, both for employers and also for employees. And there are ways to get in touch with us there, or if you really want to, you can find me. I guess I'm easy to find on like LinkedIn or something. You can find, and just ask, if this benefit's available at your employer, or if we're working with them on a process to make it available. I think that when I think about this space, and when I see the evolving needs in this space, it's clear, from your question, from the feedback that we hear, that the needs of workers in the workplace have evolved, right? And HR technology is mostly there and designed as a way to serve HR systems and processes, but today's HR leaders, benefits leaders, and managers, and those are concerned with financial well-being and the financial wellness of their employees. They're looking for solutions. They're trying to find the solutions to put in front of their employees, and they're trying to do it in a way that employees are aware of them, enroll in them, adopt them, use them. I hear often from clients who are frustrated that their employees aren't, for example, taking advantage of retirement accounts and matches and things like that they have. And when they ask their employees why, it's because the employees are living paycheck to paycheck and don't know how and where to get started. And so our intent is to be that benefit, that app, that software that the employee can log into. And many of them do this many times a day, actually, sometimes daily, just to see, did my last shift register? Is my available earnings amount going up? That I can see it every day. And from there, we look to make more resources available to them. We've recently introduced more financial wellness educational content right there in our app, which takes users directly to our free webinars that we offer. We just did one last month on credit and how to grow your credit and how to move forward on your credit journey and credit health journey. And we have been introducing, we'll be introducing more of the products and services addressing some of the financial wellness journey challenges and stages that I mentioned directly into the app. And so, I'd say for those who want to learn more, dailybake.com is a great place to go or find me. And once you do have access to, if you discover that your employer gives this access, or if you're a financial advisor and a client of yours works at an employer that has this benefit, I'd encourage them to download the app and check it out, because this is not just a way to access your earned wages, although it is that. It is fast becoming a financial wellness tool and a really important component of what we think of as work technology or work tech, right? It is helping you plan your life around work and your work around life, and helping you figure out, what shifts and hours do you need to have the cash that you need to meet your obligations, and vice versa. What are the things you can plan for in your life based on how you can start to get more visibility into your earnings and what to expect in your upcoming paycheck, and what you can see building as well in your savings and in your foundation.
Oh, it sounds like such a great app, such a great platform. I wish I could get into it myself just to look at it, because it sounds like there's lots of great stuff in there. Are you able to tell us? It sounds like, DailyPay is constantly investing in its technology and making it better. Are you able to tell us about any, upcoming additions that might be down the road, or do you not know yet?
There are two right now that I can certainly talk about, and when I'm sure we'll talk again in the future when we do share more of them. One is one that we're currently expanding and rolling out, which is the DailyPay Visa card. It is an account that you can choose to have your income, your paycheck deposited into, not only from your employer who offers DailyPay, but if you have a side gig, a second job, or other sources of income, you can choose to have them deposited onto that card. It's free. It's completely free. There are no fees to open the card, use the card. Gives you access to a network of over 50,000 ATMs if you need that. It's FDIC insured, and all of those features and benefits that people would be looking for in a banking product that sometimes are hard to access or come with fees. And you can imagine we've got some great plans for other features that we're going to introduce to that card in the very near future as well, that are also things that we're able to offer that otherwise would come with fees or other barriers or qualifications elsewhere, but we're able to do it through this means. Another challenge that we're looking to tackle is that 93% of low-income workers have below prime credit scores. They're either near prime or subprime. And overall, the majority of the population, as you know, I think it's about 60% have below prime credit scores. We want to help progress the users of our platform on their credit journeys for the reasons that we just talked about a minute ago, because it's not just about the future, it's even about the now, and getting you access to what you need to live. And so we are actually piloting right now a credit health offering that helps you free of charge to the users of our app be able to access their credit scores. It's an Experian Vantage credit score directly in the app. You can look at your credit report. You can look at what's impacting your credit positively or negatively, so you can start to monitor and understand which behaviors month over month, cycle over cycle, are progressing your credit health forward. You can also, of course, and we know a lot of people use their credit scores for this, monitor for suspicious activity so you see it first. If there's something new in your credit report that maybe shouldn't be there. And that's just one first step and one first offering in that regard. We're also going to be introducing more active ways for people to build their credit as well through our app. So that's just a couple of examples of the new value that we intend to bring to the users of the platform. But as you asked about, and as I mentioned, it's all about propelling people forward on that financial wellness journey, and starting with, and this is, I mentioned I spent the better part of the last decade in financial products and services. Most financial products and services, you're trying to help impact people's financial journey at the tail end, right? At the tail end, after a lot of life has gone in the way, right? A lot of things have eaten up or eaten away at their paycheck, and you may be starting with very little that's left over, or you may be starting helping people dig out of the hole. The benefit of us starting with and impacting people's financial journeys right at the paycheck, and I think that's something that financial advisors I know want to do for their clients, is to help people starting at the moment of the paycheck. How do we help you set goals, set for yourself, plan your cash flow, right? To make sure that you're not incurring unnecessary fees and expenses, and that your money is going further from one paycheck to the next. And so that to me is the really exciting thing. Whether you are a user of the DailyPay app, whether you're a client offering this work tech solution to your employees, or whether you're a financial advisor who's helping employees discover and use these employee benefits, it's starting at that really high leverage moment right at the paycheck before the rest of life gets in the way, that you can make the biggest impact and difference and build the greatest momentum in people's financial wellness.
That's really powerful. I can't wait to pull that quote out from you. That was such a great quote. So I'm definitely going to be posting this on social media. That was great. You had mentioned, a lot of employers will tell you, my employees aren't taking advantage of the 401k or things like that. I'm wondering if you have any data. Are they more likely to take advantage of services like DailyPay, or do employees still not know that they have these benefits available to them? Do you have any data on that?
Hillary, it's a really great question. The enrollment, adoption, usage of daily pay can vary a lot from employer to employer, industry to industry, but I can tell you some trends. Typically, at most employers, the most used employee benefit, the highest rate of enrollment and usage, is usually the healthcare benefit. And the second highest tends to be, but by a long distance, will then tend to be the retirement plan. DailyPay's enrollment, adoption, and usage tends to be in between those two. In a lot of cases, a lot of employees, particularly those who are in hourly wage jobs, don't wind up taking advantage of the retirement benefit either because of tenure, because there's a tenure requirement before you can start using it, or because they don't believe that they can start using it until they can get more stable financially and get their cash flow stable and make their money last from one paycheck to the next. And so that's where daily pay, earned wage access, and our other financial solutions play a really important role. We're helping employees manage their cash flow, right? Help them make their ends meet, get them stabilized, and then help them progress financially so that they believe that they can start building forward momentum in various types of savings, emergency savings being one, but also think about saving for the future and retirement being another. And so our goal is to see the employees and our clients not only adopt our offerings, but then to be an impetus for, a catalyst for, and potentially even a conduit for them using other employee benefits, particularly financial wellness benefits at that employer.
I think that's really powerful. Well, Jack, you've shared a lot of great stuff with us today, and I'm going to ask you a question that some people find a little bit hard to answer, but I just want to make sure I haven't missed anything. Is there anything that I haven't asked you yet that you think would be valuable for a conversation or that you would love to share?
Hillary, I love that question, and that's a question I like to ask folks as well in various settings. One thing that's on my mind, and one thing that I've learned in the career overall, but particularly working in financial services and solutions, and there's a reason you hear me use the word solutions, right? Because I'm focused on, our team's focused on solving problems or addressing problems for people, not just offering them offerings, right? So we want to focus on solving their problems. And when you're focused on solving problems for people, you learn a lot by listening. You learn a lot by listening. And I think, this is true no matter anytime you're serving people with any products or services, but I think in particular with finances, where we are probably underserved in our educational careers, that we don't get as good a preparation for managing our finances, all of us, as we are getting other subjects. It's so important to lead with empathy. It's so important to learn where people are and to meet them where they are. It's so important to not judge. It's so important not to assume. There's a lot of judgment when it comes to finances. If folks are having trouble making ends meet, there's a lot of instant judgment about why that must be, right? What they're doing wrong. But I'd argue that any one of us are just one major financial emergency away from our ends not meeting.
Yeah.
And our ability to weather that, it depends on a lot, right? And it depends on a lot of things that had to have gone right in life. Yes, things that we need to do, active decisions we need to make, but also, a lot of luck. And so I think leading with empathy, not judging people for where they are, meeting them where they are, and then helping them build a plan to move forward continually, knowing that there's always going to be headwinds in their faces, in our faces throughout life, throughout our financial journeys. There's always, just around the corner, something that can send us reeling backwards or set us back. And being there to propel people forward at each stage of the journey is something I have come to not only appreciate, not only to focus on, but to dedicate my professional time to. And that to me is it's where it's at in this line of work. And I know that your listeners, I'm sure it's why they're in it as well, is to help move people forward.
I really appreciate you saying that. I resonate with that so much. I know 100% of my listeners resonate with that as well. So, what a great note to end on. Now, you mentioned, if people want to learn more, they can connect with you on LinkedIn. They can message you with questions. They can go to the Daily Pay website. I'll link to both of those in the show notes. Is there anything else that you want to make sure gets linked in the show notes if they want to learn more, or are those two kind of the best places?
I think those are the best places to find us. I think dailypay.com is rich with information and plenty of places to reach out and contact us directly from there. Or, like you said, people want to reach out to me directly, very happy to. Would love to hear from them.
Well, Jack, thank you so much for your time. This has been such a wonderful conversation. And thank you to all of our listeners on the Finance Marketing Podcast. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Finance Marketing Podcast. If you're eager to market your business in a way that feels good and actually gets results, sign up for the Finance Marketing Podcast newsletter in the show notes so you never miss another episode. If you liked what you heard today, please be sure to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening app and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. We'll see you back here next Friday.